many teachers are also facing problems. They haven't taken TEFs themselves. That's the truth, by the
Yeah.
way. That's the truth, by the way. They haven't taken the TEF and they're preparing the students for TEF. That's an honest truth from my side.
I took TEF Canada. There were 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Yeah, they confuse a lot. They don't want me to convince them at all. So the time divided to each question was around 15 seconds, or even less than that for the small section A.
Bonjour et bienvenue, guys, on my channel YouTube, French World. And in this video, actually, we are going to talk to our student Sudhiti Sharma. She is right now in Canada, Montreal, and she started learning French with us. And in this video, you're gonna hear her, not see her because of her personal choice. She doesn't want to turn the camera on, and she'll be answering to the questions about how she has taken her TEF. And I have asked her some questions regarding what problems do you face when you go for TEF, and how she did her preparation, and what exactly happens on the day when you take your TEF exam. So here is the video, and here is the certificate though for her exam. Salut Sudhiti, je pense que tu vas bien au Canada.
Bonjour, madame, je vais bien, merci. Et vous?
Oui, je vais bien, merci beaucoup. À ce moment, j'aimerais bien te poser quelques questions. Est-ce qu'on peut parler en punjabi, anglais, mix, mélange de langues? C'est possible?
Si vous voulez, madame, comme vous voulez, je suis prête.
Ok. Il y a un peu de bruit, je ne sais pas, mais ça se passe à ce moment. Il faut que tu fais un peu d'attention, ok? D'accord?
Ok, madame.
Okay. Chalo. My first question to you is what level you required and what have you got?
My requirement was B1 in all 4 modules, and I got B2 in my speaking and B1 in all other 3 modules.
Okay, so you got B2 in your speaking and B1 in the rest of the 3 modules. Okay, and my second question to you is that what level whatever level you have achieved, how much time did it take for you to begin with and then terminate? Like approximately full-fledged, how much time did you take?
I started classes with the French World with you, ma'am, on 16th May. So the 15 days after May and the June, it was just a beginner level for me. I was getting used to French. But then from July, August, and September, in those 3 months, I really worked hard for TEF. I had a goal, and even you helped me a lot, ma'am, with everything. You gave me special classes, a lot of material. So that made me do well in the exam.
Anyways. See, we are making this video just to help out people. You know, I have myself witnessed so many people who are struggling literally, specifically in India, that they really need TEF training and they cannot, they're like stuck, like how exactly they are supposed to manage things and everything. Besides, you were also working, right?
Yes, ma'am. I was working like most of the time. I usually 6 days out of 7. So I had to take out time from my schedule to study. So it's not like that you have to study whole day for TEF. It's just it's just quality over quantity. Even if you are studying for 2 hours, make sure you are fully concentrated and you study well. And with your guidance, and when you take your teacher's guidance, always follow your teacher and always do the homework. That's very important.
Okay.
In my life, I think.
Okay, merci beaucoup. And my second question to you is, just a second, hold on. The day of your examination, what exactly happened? The day, that specific day, what exactly happened?
My exam was supposed to start at 9:30. I went inside at 9. They did the regular things, like they asked for my passport, took my picture, and then they told me that first of all you will have your speaking module, and then listening, reading, and writing. So all the students were sitting in the room, and my examiner came and asked me to come with him. So I went there, and then he made me comfortable. That, how are you feeling? I said it's okay. So the speaking was a bit tricky, I think so, because the examiner was like, I'm more concerned with your fluency and if you understand my questions rather than the grammatical mistakes.
Okay, so during your first of all, I would like to ask you one more question before we begin with the speaking part. That how many modules are there? Because there is one more TEF that consists 5, but which one did you take and how many were there? Total modules.
I took TEF Canada. There were 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And each of them had different marks. None of them was combined. So every module has a different score.
So there is one more module. I hope you remember that one too. When we were preparing for our TEF, that that lexic module, 5th one, where you have to explain the vocabulary and everything. So that you didn't have.
No, I didn't have that one.
Okay, so I would recommend the people who are watching this video that you are not supposed to prepare for the 5th module, which is like going for the lexic. So that I would say refrain from that. That is not the one to be done. Whether you are preparing from India or whether you are preparing from any other country, the 5th module is not there. Now, in the first module, your speaking module, that happened very first, right?
Yes.
There were 2 tasks.
Yes, I had 2 tasks.
Okay. And first you had to ask 10 questions, I guess, and then second one you had to convince.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
exactly.
and were you given any time in between that you can prepare at least something? How much time were you given for reading at least the questions? Was there anything or not?
When I came inside the room, there were already 2 papers in front of me, and the examiner told me that the first one is your first topic. It should be at least of 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is a very long time span, and I think I did my questions. My 10 questions were already completed in around 2-3 minutes, but I had to do for 5 minutes. So I approximately asked him around 15 to 20 questions.
Okay.
Because time was in, and there was no paper and pen to write anything.
Okay, like in IELTS you have it, but over here you don't have it. So you have to be spontaneous with the language and understanding of the language, I would say. And your second task, were you given any time lapse in between both of the sections that you could at least read the second one and then prepare a little bit, even in your mind? Nothing or direct, just read and start.
He just told me, this is your second task. Read it and when you're ready, let me know. Like he didn't mention any time you have 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So that was very tricky, how much time I have to take. So I just read it and I didn't prepare anything in my mind. I was like, I'll just go with the flow because he will also pose me questions. So I will think, because I can prepare myself. I don't know what he will ask. He was also asking me a lot of questions in between, so I was just going with the flow, no preparation before.
Was he trying to mess you up? Was he trying to trick you that you are at least here and there for your topic?
Yes, he. In the second one, I had to convince him. Like it almost took me 15 minutes. He was contradicting me around 6-7 times. So I had to think of the ways of a particular thing that I can convince him.
Okay.
Yeah, they confuse a lot. They don't want me to convince them at all.
Okay, so what was your second section?
It was like you are a cafe owner and the coffee machine is broken. There are volunteers in the city who repair the machine for free. and you have to convince your friend who's the cafe owner to repair the machine, to get repair the machine from the volunteer instead of any professional mechanic. So I had to do like that.
So this was your written part, right?
This was the task 2 of speaking.
Of your speaking, right?
Yes.
Okay. And apart from the speaking, now we will move on to the next module. What was the next module?
It was listening.
Okay, and how tricky it was? Just shortly explain it, that how it was and how it happened.
First of all, I was prepared that I will have 40 questions in listening, but unfortunately there were around 54 questions.
54
questions. So the time divided to each question was around 15 seconds, or even less than that for the small section A, and for the long ones also there was not much time. And the MCQs, they were so tricky that there was no options on the screen. I had to click the arrow, and then the options would come. And it was very difficult. It was very tricky. I think if I would have given written exam, I would score more. That was consuming time. I have to click the arrow and click the option. But if I listen and I have a paper pen, I can just mark it.
Okay, you had the computer one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you were doing the MCQs, I would ask you that how much exact time you can figure out that there was when you finish the first question and select the right answer, and then the next question starts. So how much time was there in between both of the questions?
There was no time. They were just like this one. I think the total time span of one question was 15 seconds. They were putting the audio in 15 seconds. We have to mark in 15 seconds. And then there was like, oh, question do, numerical this, and the other question.
So there was no time in between?
No time at all.
Okay. So after that, which module did you take?
It was reading.
How was it? And
how much time did you consume? Very difficult.
It was very difficult.
Yeah, reading was like it just blew my mind. There were 4 or 5 new paragraphs after every 4 questions. Like 4 questions, you have 4 paragraphs, and there were 64 questions in 60 minutes.
64 questions in 60 minutes.
Yes.
So, do you think that the time was less and there were too many questions?
Yeah, it was very less. I was so pressurized.
Okay, and if you had to have the B2 level in reading, what could you have done?
I think my marks, they're just 10 marks less than B2, but I think I think it's just the time management. If they would have put a bit less questions, I would concentrate on one question more. Maybe I could score more. And also I didn't practice much for reading. I think I would have practiced more.
Okay. And in your reading paragraphs and solving them, did you have the problem with the vocabulary? That there is some particular word that is making you stuck at some point, that this is a word that you really don't know, and this is the reason that you couldn't solve that particular question. Something regarding the vocabulary.
The vocabulary was pretty much okay overall, but in between there were like questions were very difficult. I couldn't even hardly understand them, so I was just guessing them. So yeah, in between there were questions which were very tricky, the paragraphs. If I would have more time, I would read other stuff, and maybe I would have solved them.
And the final one, I think that is your writing the text. There were 2 texts, right?
Yes, there were 2 tasks.
Okay, and how were the first one and the second one? How much time did you take?
For the first one, I think I took around 10 to 15 minutes.
Was it easy?
Yeah, it was a story that it's my shop, and the policeman came to the shop because there was a thief, and they stole something, and then I had to write on that.
And then second one?
Second one was écologie et un cadre pour humanité. Give 3 arguments and give your point of view. So I spent most of the time on task 2.
Oh, okay, most of the time you have spent on your task 2, right? And for your whole of this paper, how much time did it, take? All from listening, reading, writing, speaking, everything.
I think around 3.5 hours to 4 hours.
And 4 hours. Okay, which one was your center in Montreal?
It was Pont de Langue.
Okay,
Yes.
and did they send you any notifications before your exam, like 2 days or 3 days, something in prior, if they had sent anything? Like IELTS people, they send a mail that you have to do this. So do they send you any notification that you have to bring this or that? Anything?
Yes, they sent me email 1 week before that I have an exam and I should bring my ID and mask is obligatoire. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay. And did you attempt your paper with? Yeah, that was, by the way, we are computer based, so I cannot ask you that question. That whether it was a pen you had to use or pencil they asked you to use, that you have to use these particular things for writing. By the way, anyways, so if you have to give one suggestion or 2 suggestions to the people who are listening, who are preparing for this exam, what would you advise them?
I think just follow your teacher blindly, and your teacher knows you better. So always do whatever your teacher suggests, whatever material your teacher gives. That's what I have to say.
See, many teachers are also facing problems. They haven't taken TEFs themselves. That's the truth, by the way. That's the truth, by the way. They haven't taken the TEF and they're preparing the students for TEF. That's an honest truth from my side. Anyways, for listening, what did you do? See, we were doing properly all the books we have, followed, and then we followed some other. Even we had practiced DELF exercise books for, listening. I hope you remember that. Nothing, we have left nothing. We did everything. But from your side, for listening, what were you doing? When I was not giving you anything specific.
I didn't do anything specific. You already gave me the links of some famous French radio and newspapers. So I just used to listen them at least 10 minutes a day and find out new vocabulary. It also boosted my reading skills and gave me new vocabulary. And at the same time, I used to listen to new stuff and try to understand.
Okay, anyways, so this is it. That's all I needed from you, so that we both could maybe help out people. Some people need advice, some people don't need advice. Il y a des personnes qui ont besoin des conseils, il y a des personnes qui n'ont pas besoin de conseils. Alors, je te remercie et je te félicite. Voilà, et joyeux anniversaire aussi. Aujourd'hui, c'est ton anniversaire. Amuse-toi bien et maintenant, je vais arrêter, ok? Et au revoir. Et bonne journée.
Merci beaucoup, madame. Bonne journée à vous. Merci. Bye, madame.
Bye. In the end, I would just simply say one last thing. First, you don't need to pay specific or special fees for learning TEF exam. I mean, preparing for your TEF exam. You should know French language very well if you're taking exam from India, especially. You should speak in French, read, write, and understand French very well. There are 4 modules only that you are supposed to practice. There is 5th one that is not for you. Lexique, not for you. And yes, read all the levels of books. I mean, for DELF A1, for DELF A2, for DELF B1, and for DELF B2. Then start using that blue or that yellow books, especially which you see in the market for TEF preparation. Then use them. First, finish these four books. I would say you could use alter ego. Don't use latitude. That's a very old version that is having too much of grammar practice. Don't use that one. Use latitude. Use saison, use tendance, use alter ego. So that is what I could recommend you. Saison is my very personal preferred. That's a very updated book. Amazing one. And tendance also. Expensive, but yes, up to the mark. So learn language. Don't focus much on the exam. The moment you start focusing up on the exam, you start to lose your grip on the language. Learn the language, then take the exam. That's all I have to say.